I put my brother in the hospital. After he screwed my wife and bragged, "You know I always get what I want." My family took his side and tried to get me thrown in jail, so I made them regret it. Sup, Reddit. This happened about 2 years ago. I was a pilot living what I thought was a pretty straightforward life. Then I came home early from a flight. That day messed up everything. I, 31 male, have been with my wife Bridget, 29 female, for just over 2 years. Met at a friend's birthday, hit it off, moved in together after 8 months. We did the courthouse wedding before one of my long rotations. Just made sense for benefits and paperwork. She was a physical therapist. I was flying international routes. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our plans. Normal couple stuff. I wasn't supposed to be home. My rotation had me scheduled for another 2 days. Singapore to LAX, then a layover before heading back. 18-hour flights, cramped cockpits, recycled air. The usual. But my airline had staffing issues, last-minute schedule swaps, and suddenly I'm landing at LAX 48 hours early on a Tuesday afternoon. I texted Bridget from the airport. "Home early. See you soon." Read 3:12 p.m. No response. Whatever. She was probably elbow deep in someone's rotator cuff. Physical therapy sessions ran long sometimes, especially with the geriatric crowd who liked to chat about their grandkids while she stretched their frozen shoulders. The house is in my name. She'd been living there for over a year, but she wasn't on the deed or the mortgage. Same goes for my parents' situation, actually. I'd been helping them with their mortgage for years. Troy, too. Funny how that works. Grabbed an Uber. Driver didn't talk, which was perfect. I just stared out the window at the 4:05 traffic, thinking about sleep, my own bed, my own shower, maybe ordering Thai food and watching something brainless on Netflix. My neighborhood was quiet when we pulled up. Tuesday at 3 p.m., everyone at work. My house looked exactly like I'd left it. Lawn slightly overgrown because I kept forgetting to call the landscaping guy. Potted plants on the porch that Bridget bought and immediately stopped watering. I paid the driver, grabbed my suitcase, walked up to the front door. Key in the lock. Turn. Click. Door swings open. I tossed my keys on the table by the entrance. They landed with that familiar metallic clink. Rolled my suitcase into the hallway, noticed Bridget's yoga mat was still in the corner where she'd left it last week. The house smelled like her vanilla candles. Everything normal. Everything fine. That's when I heard it. Upstairs. From my bedroom. Sounds. The kind you can't mistake for anything else. You know what I mean. I stood there in the hallway, hand still on my suitcase handle, just listening, hoping I was wrong, hoping it was the TV, hoping it was literally anything else. Couple seconds of denial before reality kicked in. I wasn't imagining anything. I took the stairs slowly, each step quiet. My heart was pounding, but my head was clear. The bedroom door was half open. I could see part of the bed through the gap. Movement. Sheets. I pushed the door wider. Bridget, my wife. The woman I'd spent just over 2 years with. The woman who'd cried when I proposed at that overpriced restaurant in Santa Monica. In my bed. With my brother. Troy. They didn't hear me at first. Took them maybe 3 full seconds to realize someone was standing in the doorway. 3 seconds of me watching these two people blow up my entire life. Bridget saw me first. Her face went white. She gasped, scrambled, shoved Troy off her like he was on fire. Troy turned, made eye contact with me. And here's the thing about Troy, my younger brother. The golden child who never had to work for anything because someone always bailed him out. Failed out of community college twice. Lost 4 jobs in 3 years. Still drove a truck I helped him finance because his credit was garbage. This was the guy now sitting naked in my bed. He looked at me and said, real calm, "You know I always get what I want." Not sorry. Not shocked. Just stating a fact. Like he was ordering coffee. Something clicked in my head. Not rage. Something colder. I felt my jaw set. "Get out of my house." His face shifted. The smug look flickered. "What are you? Get out of my house. Both of you." Bridget grabbed the sheet, clutching it to her chest. Her voice cracked. "Baby, please, just wait. Let me explain." "Don't." I held up a hand. "You need to leave. If you refuse, I'm calling the police to document this and have you both removed. This is my home, too." Bridget started crying, mascara running. "It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. Please just listen to me." 10 minutes. Clock's ticking. Troy stood up, pulling on his jeans. His hands were shaking slightly. Tried to laugh it off. "Bro, come on. Let's talk about this like adults. We're not bros. And you've got nothing I want to hear. She's mine now, all right? Deal with it." Troy stepped toward me, voice getting louder, more aggressive, getting in my face. "She chose me. I didn't move, didn't flinch, just looked at him. Last warning, get out. Troy kept coming. His eyes were wild now, breathing hard, face getting red. You always get everything. The house, the job, Dad's respect. I'm sick of it. I stood my ground, hands at my sides. You need to leave. Now. Or what? Troy's voice cracked. He was getting worked up, almost manic. You gonna hit me? Go ahead. Give me a reason. I'm going to call the police. Your choice. Just listen to him. Bridget screamed from the bedroom. Troy, stop! Just stop, please! Troy shoved me, both hands on my chest. Hard. I stumbled back but kept my footing. He came at me again, grabbed my shirt, tried to slam me against the wall. His other hand wound back like he was going to swing. I reacted, grabbed his wrist, twisted, used his momentum against him. Basic stuff. He was off balance, overcommitted. I swept his leg and shoved. He went down wrong. Head hit the corner of the hallway table. The wooden edge caught him right at the temple. Blood showed up fast. A lot of it. Bridget screamed from the bedroom doorway. Oh my God, Troy! I stepped back, put my hands up, looked at my brother bleeding on my floor. Don't move him! What did you do? Bridget was hysterical now, crawling toward Troy. What did you do to him? He attacked me. I defended myself. I pulled out my phone, dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? My brother attacked me in my home. He shoved me twice and tried to hit me. I defended myself and he fell. He's bleeding from his head. I need an ambulance and police. I gave them my address. I need this documented. He became violent when I asked him to leave. Bridget looked up at me, eyes wild. You called the cops? Are you insane? Back away from him. Don't move his neck. Don't tell me what to do. Spine injury protocol. Move and you could paralyze him. But hey, your call. She froze, hands hovering over Troy. The dispatcher kept me on the line, asked questions. I answered every single one. Clear, calm, detailed. What happened? How he shoved me twice. How he tried to swing on me. How I defended myself. Troy was groaning now, conscious but dazed, hand reaching for his head. Don't touch it, I told him. Still on the phone with 911. You're bleeding. Paramedics are coming. Congratulations on your life choices. Bridget was sobbing, rocking back and forth. This is your fault. This is all your fault. My fault? I looked at her. Interesting perspective. You were in my bed with my brother, but sure. My fault. We didn't mean for this to happen. Get dressed. You're leaving. I need to go with him. You're not going anywhere with him. Get dressed. Now. She stared at me, then scrambled back into the bedroom. The dispatcher asked if Troy was breathing normally. I watched his chest rise and fall. Yes, breathing is steady, but there's significant bleeding from the temple area. Help is nearby, she said. I could hear the sirens getting closer. The sound bounced off the houses in my neighborhood. Troy's breathing had gotten louder, more labored. His fingers kept twitching. Bridget came back out, threw on whatever clothes were closest. She kept looking between me and Troy, like she couldn't figure out which one to focus on. Bridget came back out wearing jeans and a shirt, still crying, makeup destroyed. She knelt next to Troy, but didn't touch him, just kept whispering, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I stayed exactly where I was, back against the wall, phone to my ear, marks on my chest where he'd shoved me. The dispatcher asked if I was in immediate danger. No, he's on the ground, I'm maintaining distance. Stay on the line until officers arrive? I heard the sirens before I saw the lights, red and blue flashing through the front windows. The sound got louder, closer, then stopped right outside. Bridget looked at me, desperate. Please, please tell them it was an accident. Please. I said nothing, just waited. Paramedics first, then cops. I was still standing in the same spot, hands visible, phone in one hand, the 911 call still active. The paramedics went straight to Troy, started assessing, neck brace, backboard, the whole protocol. One of them kept shining a light in his eyes, checking his pupils. Possible TBI, we need to move now. 2 officers approached me. You the homeowner? Yes. What happened? I came home early, found my wife in bed with my brother, told them both to leave. My brother became aggressive. He shoved me twice and tried to swing on me. I defended myself and he fell, hit his head on the table. One officer pulled out a notepad, started writing. The other one scanned the hallway, looked at the blood on the floor, looked at the table, looked at me. You have security cameras? Yeah. Full smart home setup, motion activated, cloud storage. Everything's time-stamped with audio. The officer's posture changed, got more professional. We'll need to see that footage. Already pulled it up on my phone. Want me to send you the login credentials or show you now? Where's your wife now? Bedroom. One officer went to talk to Bridget. The other stayed with me. Any cameras? Yeah. I travel for work, so I had a full interior security setup installed. Motion-triggered clips, cloud storage, audio. Everything's time-stamped. The officer nodded. Made notes. We'll need access to that footage. Whatever you need, I have nothing to hide. Troy was loaded onto a stretcher. Still conscious, but not making much sense. Slurring his words. Blood matted in his hair. Neck immobilized. One of the paramedics looked concerned. Possible skull fracture? We're going to Cedars-Sinai. The officers asked more questions. I answered everything. Showed them the marks on my chest where Troy had shoved me. Red marks, already starting to bruise. Had them photograph it. Gave them my phone to access the smart home footage. Showed them the doorbell camera app. The officer who'd gone to talk to Bridget came back. She confirms your brother was here. Says they've been seeing each other for a while. Says you came home, got angry, that things escalated. Claims you attacked him. I looked at him. Check the footage. It'll show exactly what happened. He shoved me. Twice. Then grabbed my shirt and tried to swing. I defended myself. The officer pulled up the video on my phone. Watched it twice. Showed it to his partner. They both nodded. Everything documented. Everything time-stamped. The officers finished their notes. We'll be in touch if we have more questions. You can file a formal complaint for the assault if you choose to. I want to cooperate fully. I'll sign whatever you need. One of them nodded. We'll include that in the report. Bridget tried to leave with the ambulance. I blocked the doorway. Keys, phone, now. What? No. I need to go with him. You need to get out of my house. Please. Her voice broke. She grabbed my arm. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. I'll do anything. I pulled my arm away, held out my hand. House key, car key if you drove here. Hand them over. She fumbled with her key ring. Hands shaking so bad she dropped it twice. Where am I supposed to go? I don't have anywhere. Not my problem. Should have thought about that before. Baby, please. She was full on sobbing now, snot running down her face. I love you. I made a mistake. It was just one time. Please don't throw away 3 years. One time? I looked at her. This was the first time? She couldn't meet my eyes. That's what I thought. I gestured to the counter. Keys. Now. She placed the house key on the kitchen counter, hands trembling. Can I get some of my things? 5 minutes. Then you're out. 5 minutes? All my stuff is here. Should have thought about that. She ran upstairs. I heard drawers opening, things being thrown into bags. She came back down with a duffel bag, mascara streaked down her face, eyes red and swollen. Please, she tried one more time, standing in my doorway, voice barely a whisper. Please, can we just talk about this tomorrow? When you've calmed down? I am calm. Get out. I'm begging you. I know. Leave. She stood there, mouth opening and closing, looking for words that didn't exist. Out. Now. She stumbled out the door, stood on the porch for a moment, turned back. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I closed the door in her face, locked it. The officers were still there, finishing up paperwork. One of them looked at me. You need anything else from us? No. I have everything I need. We'll be in touch. They left. I stood in my hallway, blood still on the floor and table, stared at it for a long time. Then I got cleaning supplies from under the sink and scrubbed until it was gone. I didn't sleep that night. Sat on my couch with all the lights on, going through the smart home footage frame by frame. Saved everything to 3 different cloud storage accounts. Made copies on 2 external hard drives. Backed it up to a USB drive I put in my safety deposit box the next morning. The footage was crystal clear. Audio and video. Troy following me into the hallway. Him shoving me. Him grabbing my shirt and winding up to swing. Me defending myself. Him falling backward, head connecting with the table corner. The sickening thud. Him going down. Self-defense. Clear as day. I watched it 12 times. Noted every timestamp. Every moment Troy initiated contact. Every time I gave him a chance to walk away. Every second that proved I'd tried to avoid confrontation. Labeled each file with date, time, location. Created a master document listing every piece of evidence I had. The videos. The photos of my injuries. The 911 call recording. The police report number. Officer names and badge numbers. Even downloaded the Uber receipt showing exactly when I'd arrived home. Around 4 a.m., I started making a timeline. Wrote down everything in chronological order. When I texted Bridget, when the Uber picked me up, when I entered the house, when I heard the sounds, when I walked upstairs, Every single detail with timestamps, printed it out, made 3 copies, put one in my safe, one in the safety deposit box, one with my important documents at work. My phone started ringing at 6 a.m. Mom. I let it ring. She called again and again. Then Dad called. Then Monica. Then Piper. I silenced them all, made coffee, sat at my kitchen table. My phone buzzed with a text. Mom, Troy is in the hospital. Call me immediately. I didn't respond. Dad, what did you do to your brother? Didn't respond. Monica, we need to talk. Now. Didn't respond. Around 8 a.m., I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Answered it. This is calling from Cedars-Sinai. I'm calling about your brother Troy. He still had you listed as emergency contact from years ago. He gave consent at intake. Are you able to discuss his condition? He never updated anything in his life. Troy still had me listed as emergency contact from years back. What's his condition? He has a severe concussion and a skull fracture. We had to relieve pressure on his brain. He's stable now, but there are complications. The impact caused some bleeding. We're monitoring him closely. Complications? It's too early to know the full extent, but there may be permanent effects. We'll know more in the coming days. I thanked them and hung up. The calls kept coming, every few minutes. Different family members taking turns. I watched the phone light up over and over. Sip my coffee. Around 10 a.m., the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Mom and Dad, standing on my porch. Dad had that look on his face, the one that meant he was about to lecture me. I didn't open the door. They knocked, rang the bell again, knocked harder. We know you're in there, Dad called out. Open this door right now. I sat back down on my couch, turned on the TV, volume up. They stayed for 20 minutes, banging, yelling, eventually left. My phone buzzed again. Monica this time. We're worried about you. Please just let us know you're okay. The switch from aggressive to concerned. Classic manipulation. I'd seen this playbook before. I deleted the message. An hour later, a new text. Dad, your brother has a concussion, a skull fracture, and they had to drill into his head to relieve pressure. We need to discuss what happened. I took a screenshot. Saved it to a folder labeled Evidence. The messages kept rolling in throughout the day. Different tactics. Mom trying guilt. Dad trying anger. Monica trying reason. Piper trying sympathy. They rotated like they'd coordinated their approach. Probably had a group chat going where they strategized about how to crack me. I screenshotted everything, added each one to my growing evidence folder, created subfolders, organized by sender, by date, by tone. The angrier they got, the more documentation I collected. Every threat, every accusation, every attempt to paint me as the villain. All saved, all time-stamped, all backed up in multiple locations. By noon, I had 47 messages. By 3 p.m., it was over 80. My sister sent paragraphs about family loyalty, about how Troy needed support, about how I was being cruel. Not one of them mentioned what Troy had done. Not one acknowledged that he'd attacked me. It was all about how I'd hurt him, how I'd overreacted, how I needed to fix this. That afternoon, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. This is a detective with LAPD. I'd like to ask you some questions about an incident yesterday involving your brother. I'll cooperate. I'm not answering detailed questions without counsel. Pause on the other end. That's your right. When can you come to the station? I'll have my lawyer contact you. You already have a lawyer? My airline has a legal plan. I'll be in touch within 24 hours. I hung up, called the union immediately, explained the situation. They connected me with a lawyer who specialized in self-defense cases. Former prosecutor. Knew his stuff. We met that evening at a coffee shop. I showed him everything. The footage, the photos of my injuries, the 911 call recording, the police report. My lawyer watched the video 3 times. This is clean. He attacked you. You defended yourself. He fell. My family is going to push for charges. Let them try. He leaned back. You've got documentation they'd kill for in court. Time-stamped video, audio, independent witness statements from the officers who responded. You called 911 yourself. You stayed at the scene. You cooperated fully. This is textbook self-defense. What do I do? Nothing. Let me handle the police. Don't talk to your family. Don't explain yourself. Don't apologize. And for the love of God, don't go near your brother. I nodded. One more thing, my lawyer said. Your wife, the marriage? Short. Just over 2 years. She wasn't on the deed or mortgage. Separate property. I need to file. File for divorce. Immediately. California is a no-fault state, but you need to get ahead of this. She might try to claim marital assets or support. File first, establish the timeline, and make it clear the marriage ended the moment you caught her in your bed with your brother. What about her stuff? Box it up, put it in storage, send her the location and bill her for it, or leave it on the curb with a text. Either way, document everything. I left the meeting oddly calm. I had evidence. I had counsel. I had followed every rule. My phone was blowing up when I got home. 15 missed calls, 30 texts. Monica. The police called Mom and Dad. They want to interview us about what Troy said about you. Piper. Why do you need a lawyer if you didn't do anything wrong? Dad. Lawyering up makes you look guilty. If you have nothing to hide, just talk to the police. I screenshotted every message, added them to my evidence folder. Then I typed one message to the family group chat. My lawyer will handle all communication with police. Do not contact me directly. Any further contact will be considered harassment and documented accordingly. Sent. Muted the chat. Monica tried calling immediately. I declined. She texted, "You can't just cut us off like this. We're your family." I didn't respond. Dad called from 3 different numbers. I declined all of them. Blocked the numbers. That night, someone sent me a message from an account I didn't recognize. Troy is devastated. He can't believe you're doing this. He just wants to apologize. I blocked the account. My neighbor knocked on my door around 8 p.m. "Hey man, everything okay? I heard sirens yesterday." "Yeah, had an incident with my brother. It's handled." The cops talked to me, asked if I heard anything. "What did you tell them?" "The truth. I heard yelling, heard a crash, saw the ambulance, saw you talking to the cops, looking calm, saw them taking photos of your chest. Thanks. You need anything?" "No, but thanks for asking." He left. I added his statement to my mental checklist. Another witness. Another piece that backed up my story. Before bed, I called my lawyer. "I want to file for divorce. Tomorrow. I'll have the paperwork ready by noon. We'll cite irreconcilable differences and include a sworn statement about what you witnessed. That way it's on the record." Good. The next morning, I boxed up all of Bridget's stuff. Every piece of clothing, every toiletry, every book, every picture. Found stuff she'd left in the bathroom, in the closet, under the bed. Her ridiculous collection of scented candles. Her yoga equipment. The framed photos of us from better times. Took me 4 hours. Loaded it all into my car and drove it to a storage facility. Paid for 1 month. Sent her a text with the address and unit number. "Your belongings are here. You have 30 days before I stop paying for it. Do not contact me. All communication goes through my attorney." She called immediately. I didn't answer. She texted, "Please, can we just talk? I made a mistake. It meant nothing." I forwarded her message to my lawyer. He sent her the divorce papers by end of day. My lawyer called me 4 days after the incident. Talked to the detective. The DA reviewed everything and decided not to file charges. "Your video makes it impossible to claim aggression on your part." Just like that? Not quite. They interviewed your family. Your parents gave statements supporting Troy's version. Said you have anger issues, that Troy was just trying to calm you down. The detective asked for evidence. They had none. Meanwhile, you've got video, audio, injuries, 911 call, independent witnesses. Case closed. Interesting. They tried to file a false report against me. They did, and I've documented that. If they try again, we have grounds for a harassment case. What about Troy's condition? My lawyer paused. The hospital report came through. Traumatic brain injury, chronic vertigo, balance problems, cognitive issues. Can't drive. Lost his job because he can't pass the physical anymore. He's on disability. Can I still pursue the assault charge? The DA can file based on your signed complaint and the evidence. The video's a slam dunk, but it'll take time. Court dates, testimony, the whole process. He'd be looking at probation, anger management, possible jail time depending on the judge. Do it. You sure? He attacked me in my home after sleeping with my wife, and my family tried to have me arrested for defending myself. Yes, I'm sure. All right, I'll coordinate with the DA's office. He'll be served this week. I hung up. My airline called later that day. HR wanted to check in. They'd heard about the incident through the grapevine. Some crew member who knew my family somehow. I gave them the short version. Explained I'd defended myself. Mentioned the police report cleared me. They were professional about it. Said to take whatever time I needed. Asked if I wanted access to the employee assistance program. I declined. Went back to work the following week. Singapore rotation again. Same routes, same airports. Walking through Changi felt different somehow. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. Grabbed my usual coffee at the gate. Checked the weather reports. Did my pre-flight inspection. Normal routine. but I kept thinking about Troy bleeding on my floor, about Bridget's face when she saw me standing there. Flying helped. Up at altitude, focused on instruments and navigation, there wasn't room to think about anything else. My co-pilot on that trip was solid. Good pilot. Didn't ask questions. We kept it professional. Landed smooth in Singapore, checked into the crew hotel, slept for 10 hours straight. The next morning, I got a frantic call from Dad. I answered it. "You're actually going through with charges against your own brother?" His voice was shaking with rage. "The DA is filing. I cooperated with their investigation. He's in the hospital. He's disabled. Haven't you done enough?" He attacked me. In my home. After sleeping with my wife. And you tried to have me arrested. So no, I haven't done enough. If you go through with this, we're done. You're not my son anymore. Fine by me. But you should know, I've been covering your mortgage for years now. $2,000 a month. Troy's car insurance. His phone bill. I'm not funding people who are actively trying to ruin my life. Silence on the other end. Your choice, Dad. Leave me alone or figure out how to cover those expenses yourselves. He hung up. 2 days later, my lawyer called back. Troy was served this morning, at your parents' house. He's living with them now. How'd he take it? The process server said he looked shocked. Like he couldn't believe you'd actually go through with it. Your mother tried to refuse the papers on his behalf. The server explained that's not how it works. Good. Court date is set for 6 weeks from now. Preliminary hearing. Troy will need to appear. Given his condition, the judge might be sympathetic. But the evidence speaks for itself. The weeks dragged. I picked up extra shifts. Flew to Tokyo, Frankfurt, Dubai. Kept moving, kept busy. Came home to an empty house and didn't mind it. Started ordering takeout instead of cooking. Let the lawn grow even more overgrown. Stopped caring about the small stuff. The divorce proceedings initially dragged on. Paperwork. Court delays. The whole deal. Bridget fought it at first. Wanted spousal support. Wanted to claim she contributed to the household. My lawyer shut it down fast. Short marriage. Separate property. Clean paper trail. Her lawyer saw the evidence and advised her to settle. Told her it would turn into a public mess if she pushed. The sworn statement about what I'd witnessed would become public record. Photos attached. Police reports attached. Everyone would know. She settled 2 weeks after her lawyer reviewed everything. Clean break. No support. No asset split. She keeps what she brought in. That's it. Her lawyer sent one final email. Bridget wanted to know if we could talk. Just once. To get closure. My lawyer replied on my behalf. No contact. Terms are final. Troy's court date arrived on a Wednesday morning. I showed up in a suit. My lawyer met me outside the courthouse. Remember, don't engage. Don't make eye contact. Let me handle everything. Inside, Troy was already there with a public defender. He looked worse than I'd seen him at the hospital. Thinner. Older somehow. The scar on his forehead was prominent even from across the room. He was sitting down, one hand on the bench for balance. When he saw me, something flickered across his face. Hope, maybe, or desperation. I looked past him. I found a seat on the opposite side of the courtroom. The hearing lasted 30 minutes. Video evidence was presented. The judge watched it twice. Troy's attorney tried arguing that permanent injury was punishment enough. My lawyer countered that assault is assault regardless of outcome. The judge agreed. Troy took a plea deal right there. Misdemeanor assault, probation, community service, anger management classes. Restraining order with no contact terms set for a long time. He stood when the judge read the terms. Had to grab the table. His attorney steadied him. When the judge asked if he understood the terms, his voice cracked. Yes, Your Honor. I walked out of the courthouse without looking back. Bridget's career didn't survive. About a month after the divorce was filed, word got around. Hospital staff stopped including her in conversations. Referrals dried up. She started getting scheduled for the garbage shifts. Eventually, she left. Called it a mutual decision. Physical therapy is a small world. People talk at conferences. Hiring managers check references quietly. Someone always knows someone. It took a few months, but the whispers followed her. One of my airline buddies had a sister who worked at a different hospital in the same network. Told me Bridget tried getting hired at 3 different clinics in LA. All of them passed. No official reason given. Just never got past the interview stage. Last I heard, she'd moved back to Arizona. Some clinic job making a fraction of what she used to earn. Living with her parents at 29. My family kept trying for a while. New phone numbers, letters, messages through mutual friends. I blocked every number. Returned every letter unopened. Cut off anyone who agreed to pass messages. After I made it clear about the finances, they got quieter. Dad tried calling once more to negotiate. I kept it simple. Stop harassing me, and I keep helping with the mortgage. Come at me legally or keep pushing. I stop immediately. They couldn't afford to lose that income, so they backed off. Monica tried showing up at my airline's crew lounge once. Security stopped her at the entrance. She didn't have credentials. I watched from inside the secure area as she argued with the guard. Eventually, she left. I filed a report with my company, added her name to the unauthorized visitor list. Piper sent one final email 3 months later. Long message about how family should forgive, how everyone makes mistakes, how Troy was suffering, how mom cried every day, how dad's health was declining from the stress, how I needed to be the bigger person. I read it once, deleted it, blocked her email address. Eventually, the attempt stopped. Months passed. I picked up extra shifts at work, flew to Japan, spent a week in Tokyo, started hitting the gym regularly, bought a new car, a Mustang GT with a V8 that growled. Life got quieter, better. Then Christmas rolled around. My new phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered because I wanted to hear what they'd try this time. It's Monica. Before you hang up, just listen. Mom and Dad want you at Christmas dinner. Troy is doing better. He's in therapy. He wants to apologize properly. Please come. Will Troy be there? He's family. Of course he'll be there. I thought about it. They wanted to play happy family. Wanted to pretend everything was fine. Wanted me to sit across from the man who attacked me after sleeping with my wife. But I also wanted to see it. Wanted to see Troy's face. Wanted to watch them squirm. Wanted them to understand that nothing had changed. I'll be there. 6 o'clock. She responded with relief. Thanks. Promises that this would be good for everyone. I wasn't going to reconcile, but I needed them to understand something. Spent the days leading up to Christmas running scenarios in my head. What they'd say. How they'd act. Prepared for every angle. Made sure my car had a full tank in case I needed to leave fast. Put my phone on full charge. Had my lawyer's number ready to dial if anything went sideways. Christmas Eve. I pulled up at 5:55 p.m. Car's already there. Monica's SUV. Piper's sedan. Troy's truck, though someone else had to drive him now. I walked in without knocking. Mom rushed over, hugged me too long, too tight. I'm so glad you came. Dad shook my hand. Firm grip. Lots of eye contact. Good to see you, son. And then Troy stood up from the armchair near the fireplace. Slowly, carefully. Had to grab the armrest to steady himself. He looked terrible. Lost weight, dark circles. The scar on his forehead stood out. His hand stayed on the wall for balance. Hey! His voice cracked. I walked past him to the kitchen, grabbed a seltzer from the fridge. Monica and Piper were setting the table. They both looked at me like I was a bomb about to go off. Careful smiles, nervous energy. The whole room felt tight. Everyone moving around each other like we were strangers. We sat down for dinner. Mom had gone all out. Turkey, the whole spread. Dad said grace. Thanked God for family, for forgiveness and new beginnings. I kept my eyes open, stared at my plate. We started eating. Small talk. Monica talked about her kids. Piper mentioned her new job. Dad complained about his back. Mom asked me about flying. I gave one-word answers. Kept my focus on the food. Troy set down his fork. I know this is uncomfortable, but I need to say this. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything. I destroyed everything. I was wrong. About everything. I attacked you and you defended yourself. I'm in therapy now. I'm working on myself. And I love you. You're my brother. The whole table went quiet. Everyone watching me. Waiting. I turned to Monica. Can you pass the potatoes? Troy stopped, mouth still open. The words just gone. Monica slowly passed the bowl. I spooned potatoes onto my plate. Kept eating. Dad's tone hardened. This is childish. Look at him. He can't work. He can't drive. He's living with Mom and Dad because he can't take care of himself. He's suffered enough. I set down my fork. Looked at Dad. He attacked me. In my own home. After I walked in on him with my wife. And when I defended myself, you all tried to have me arrested. You knew exactly what happened. You just chose to believe I was the bad guy. Even with video evidence. Even with police reports. You picked him. Silence. I stood up. Where are you going? Mom asked, voice rising. I came here tonight to confirm something. And I did. That you all chose him over me. You invited him here knowing what he did. You asked me to sit at this table and eat dinner with a man who assaulted me. And you thought I'd just forgive him? Troy stood. Slowly. Unsteadily. Had to grab the table. Please don't leave. I'll go. I'll leave right now. Just stay. I walked to the door. Dad followed. If you walk out that door, I turned. What? You'll call the cops on me again? Already tried that. Didn't work. The room went silent. I opened the door. Troy was right behind me, desperate, moving too fast. He stumbled, caught himself on the doorframe. Wait, please, just one word. Just tell me you hate me. Anything. I looked at him. You know what your problem is, Troy? You always thought you could take whatever you wanted and someone else would clean up the mess. Well, not anymore. I walked out without looking back. The cold air hit me as I stepped off the porch. I got in my car, started the engine. The house was lit up like a Christmas card, perfect and warm and completely fake. I pulled out of the driveway, checked my rearview mirror once. Troy was still standing there, leaning against the doorframe, watching my taillights disappear down the street. By the time I got home, I had 23 missed calls. I blocked every number, canceled the mortgage payments the next morning, canceled Troy's insurance and phone bill. They made their choice when they defended him after he attacked me, when they expected me to pretend everything was fine. I didn't choose this. They did. Now, 2 years after everything went down, I've got a new house, a dog named Maverick, a girlfriend named Harper who respects my boundaries and doesn't push. Built it all after my family tried to destroy me for refusing to be their doormat, and it's better than anything I had before. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true. My cheating ex texted, "We just need you at our wedding for closure." 3 years after I caught her with my best friend, I gave them something better and watched their lives implode. Sup Reddit, I'm not one for posting my business online. But what happened 2 weeks ago has half of my friend group telling me that this is Reddit gold. So here we are. My ex-girlfriend and my best friend hooked up behind my back for 5 months, then invited me to their wedding 3 years later for closure. They got closure, just not the kind they wanted. I, 32 male, run distribution operations for a medical supply company. Hospitals, clinics, urgent cares. If they need supplies, I make sure the trucks show up on time. It's a good job. Pays $78,000 plus bonuses. Lets me afford a house in Lakewood and a truck that actually starts in winter. Almost 4 years ago, I was pulling $52,000 and living with my girlfriend Kelsey in a decent apartment off Colfax. We'd been together 2 years. Met at one of our mutual friends' party. She did loans at a bank downtown and complained about her boss every single night, but never actually looked for a new job. I had an $8,000 engagement ring bookmarked. I knew her ring size because I took one of hers to get it cleaned. Real smooth. My boy Blake worked under me at the distribution center. I was his direct supervisor. We'd been tight since freshman year of high school. 17 years. He was at my dad's funeral. I helped him move 4 times. Tuesday, March 14th, 2022. We finished a major backlog 2 days early. Client pulled their rush order, which freed up my afternoon. I figured I'd surprise Kelsey with takeout from that faux place she liked. She wasn't home. Told me that morning she'd be working late. I texted her. No response. Called. Voicemail. Blake lived 15 minutes away. Ground floor apartment with massive windows that faced the parking lot. Maybe we could grab food, watch the Nuggets game. I pulled into his complex at 4:17 p.m. Kelsey's silver Accord was in Blake's spot, the one with the scratched bumper. My brain did that thing where it tries to rationalize. She's dropping something off. She needed to borrow something. There's an explanation. Then I looked through his window. I'm not describing what I saw. Use your imagination. What I will say is, this wasn't some drunk mistake at a party. This was comfortable. Routine. They'd done this before. Many times before. I stood there for maybe 8 seconds. Part of me wanted to kick the door in. The other part felt weirdly calm, like everything suddenly made sense. All the late nights, the girls' weekends, the way she'd started doing her hair was different. I turned around, got in my truck, drove home. I don't remember the drive. Next thing I knew, I was back at our apartment with my laptop open, searching available rentals in Lakewood. I called the bank, moved money from our joint account to my personal checking, left her exactly half, took screenshots of the balances for records. Then I removed my name from the joint account. 3 phone calls done by 6 p.m. Started a spreadsheet. Everything I owned versus everything she owned. Furniture I'd bought before we moved in together. Electronics. Kitchen stuff. My dad's tools in the garage. Took maybe 20 minutes to inventory. Realized most of the important stuff was already mine. Texted my buddy Carter. Asked if I could store boxes at his place for a week. He said yes, without asking questions. Kelsey came home at 7:43 p.m., smiling. Started telling me about her exhausting day finalizing loan applications. I just looked at her. The smile died. Alex, what's wrong? How long? What are you? How long have you been sleeping with Blake? She started crying immediately. It just happened. He was going through something. And how? Long. 5 months. 5 months of looking me in the face while I browsed engagement rings. Get out. Alex, please. 10 minutes. Pack a bag. Everything else I'll drop at your sister's tomorrow. Keys on the counter when you leave. She tried the tears. Then the begging. Then the, we can work through this routine. I stood there with my arms crossed and watched the microwave clock count down. She was still talking, so I picked up her purse and handed it to her. Time's up. She looked at me like I'd crack, like I'd soften up and let her explain. I opened the door. She left crying. I locked it behind her and called a locksmith. New deadbolt and door handle installed by 10 p.m. $147. Best money I ever spent. Spent the next 3 hours boxing her stuff. Clothes, shoes, makeup, all her bathroom junk. Filled 8 boxes. Stacked them by the door. Took photos of everything for documentation. If she claimed I kept her stuff or damaged anything, I had proof. Found the engagement ring bookmark still open on my laptop. Closed the tab. Deleted my browser history. Emptied the trash. Next morning, I got to work at 7:30. Blake's shift started at 8. I was waiting in my office when he walked in. Saw me through the glass. His face went white. He tried to turn around. Walk back out. Too late. I called him in. Closed the door. Locked it. Sit. He stood there. Hands shaking. Alex, I need to explain. Sit down. He sat. Started doing that thing where he rubbed his palms on his jeans. Could tell he'd been practicing this conversation in his head all night. Look, man, I know you're upset, but if we just talk this through... I slid a folder across the desk. Open it. He opened it. Read the first page. HR termination notice. His hands stopped moving. I reported a conduct violation to HR last night. Conflict of interest between supervisor and subordinate, creating a hostile work environment. You're done. Effective immediately. Paperwork hits your email at 9 a.m. Alex, come on. I documented the situation to HR and legal. They agreed this creates an untenable working relationship. Clean. Documented. Approved by legal this morning at 7. His face shifted. The fake concern dropped for just a second. You can't do this. Already done. This is about her, not some policy. You're right. I reported you because you spent 5 months sleeping with my girlfriend while sitting in my office every morning pretending to be my friend. But see, HR doesn't care about that. They care about maintaining professional workplace standards. And lucky for me, we actually have a legitimate issue. Blake leaned forward. Started with the voice. That soft, reasonable tone he used when he wanted something. 17 years, man. 17 years of friendship. That has to count for something. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I really am. Let me make this right. I just stared at him. I never wanted to hurt you. It just happened. You know how these things go. We were both confused and... Stop. Alex, you're not sorry. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? I stood up, walked around the desk, stood over him. You looked me in the eye every single day for 5 months. Asked about my weekend, laughed at my jokes, borrowed money from me, all while you were sleeping with Kelsey in your apartment with those big windows. His face went pale. You saw everything. Yesterday, 4:17 p.m. That comfortable routine you two had going? Not the first time, was it? Blake's mouth opened, closed, opened again. If you just let me explain the whole situation, 30 minutes to clear your locker, security's been notified, you're really going to throw away 17 years over this? You already did that. I'm just making it official. Blake stood up, got close, tried the brotherhood angle, put his hand on my shoulder. We can fix this. Take a few days, cool off, then we sit down like men and work it out. Kelsey doesn't have to be part of our friendship. We can get past this. I looked at his hand on my shoulder, looked back at his face. Get out. I'm trying to apologize here. No. You're trying to keep your job. You're trying to save face. You're trying to make this go away so you don't have to deal with consequences. That's not an apology. That's damage control. Blake's expression changed. The fake remorse disappeared. So that's it? You're just done? After everything? After everything you did? Yeah, I'm done. This is crazy. You're being crazy. People make mistakes. Mistakes happen once. What you did took planning, coordination, 5 months of lying to my face. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Fine. Blake's voice went hard. Fire me. I'll get another job. But you're going to regret this when you realize you threw away a real friendship over some girl. I opened the door. 28 minutes. Clock's running. He stood there, waiting for me to crack, to change my mind, to be the same guy who gave him second chances in high school, third chances in college. I pointed to the hallway. Blake's jaw clenched. He walked to the door, turned back. One last attempt. I really am sorry, man. I hope someday you can forgive me. Even his voice was wrong, rehearsed, like he'd practiced it in the mirror. 18 minutes. He left. I locked the door behind him, watched through the window as he walked past the other guys in the warehouse. They all knew. You can always tell when someone's being walked out. Blake stopped at his locker, started pulling out his stuff, kept looking back at my office window. Security showed up at 8:24 a.m. 2 guards. Standard procedure for terminations. They walked him to the exit. Blake kept stopping, trying to explain, trying to get them to let him come back and talk to me. They didn't. I watched his truck pull out of the lot, watched him sit there in the parking lot for another 10 minutes, watched him finally drive away. My phone buzzed. Text from his number. Please, I need this job. I'll transfer departments. I'll do anything. Just don't do this. I deleted the message. Went back to work. Changed my number that afternoon. Blocked both of them on everything. By Friday, I'd signed a lease on a 1-bedroom in Lakewood. Different neighborhood, different gym, different grocery store, different everything. People called me cold. Said I should have at least heard them out. But here's what I learned that day. When something's contaminated, you don't try to save it. You cut it out and move on. Next 6 months were straightforward. Treat my life like a distribution operation that failed quality control. Throw out the contaminated product. Build new systems. Run tighter protocols. Moved to Lakewood. Joined a flag football league through work. Made friends who knew nothing about my past. Zero connection to Kelsey or Blake. Clean slate. The hard part wasn't missing Kelsey. The hard part was Blake. 17 years of history just gone. Every time something funny happened, my first instinct was still to text him. Every time I drove past our old spots, I'd get that hollow feeling. But I handled it. Made new friends. Started showing up to things. Got decent at deflecting questions about my past. Almost 4 years later, I'd rebuilt completely. Got promoted twice. Made senior distribution manager at $78,000. Bought a house in Lakewood. 2-car garage. Decent yard. Fixed it up myself. Built a deck that actually came out level. Planted tomatoes that didn't die. My life worked exactly how I wanted it to. Then Kelsey texted me. Almost 4 years of silence. Until 8 weeks ago. She texted me from an unknown number. The text was massive. One of those novels that makes your phone say, "Read more" at the bottom. Summary. Kelsey and Blake were getting married in 6 weeks. And they wanted me there. Not just invited. Specifically wanted me there. Their couples therapist said it would help everyone get closure. Kelsey's family thought it would be good for me to see them happy. Blake's mom asked about me. They wanted to heal old wounds so everyone could move forward like adults. The message included details about the venue, about how they'd reserved me a +1, about how the seating chart had a spot saved for me at a table with mutual friends. Like I'd just show up and play along. She ended it with how much my forgiveness would mean, how they wanted to start their marriage without this cloud hanging over them, how seeing me there would prove to everyone that people can move past old hurts. I read it maybe 20 times trying to understand what reality these people lived in. They betrayed me, blew up my life for their own happiness. And now they wanted me to show up at their wedding and smile for photos. I kept it simple. Pass. Should have been done. It wasn't. Next day, another essay. About how they've grown as people. How they know what they did was wrong, but they've built something beautiful. How my forgiveness matters to them. How they want me to celebrate their love. Their love. The love that started with her sneaking around behind my back for 5 months while I shopped for engagement rings. This message had a different tone. More desperate. Said Blake really needed this. That he talks about our friendship all the time. That losing me was one of his biggest regrets. That having me there would mean he could finally stop feeling guilty about what happened. So Blake's guilt was my problem now. Perfect. I left it on red. 2 days later, my buddy Mike called. Kelsey reached out. Asked if I could talk to you about the wedding. She thinks you're holding on to anger. What did you tell her? Told her to leave you alone. But man, it's been almost 4 years. Maybe going would help you move on. I am moved on. That's why I'm not going. Then what's the harm? The harm is them trying to rewrite history. Making it seem like what they did wasn't that bad. Because look, even Alex showed up. Mike went quiet. Never thought of it like that. I didn't give him an answer. Said I'd think about it and hung up. But here's what I was actually thinking. I let go of anger almost 4 years ago when I walked away from that window and rebuilt my life without them. This isn't about revenge. This is about consequences. Next few weeks, information started coming my way. Mutual friends talking. People assuming I already knew. What I learned changed everything. Their relationship had been a disaster. Broken up twice. 8 months the first time, 3 months the second. Both times because Kelsey wasn't sure they were meant to be together. They only got engaged 4 months ago after some couples retreat, where Blake panic proposed to prove commitment. My buddy Ryan said they fight about me constantly. Kelsey feels guilty. Blake feels like he's living in my shadow. Every argument circles back to the betrayal. They almost canceled the engagement twice. Once when Kelsey had a breakdown at a dinner party because someone asked how they met. And again 3 weeks before the invitation, when Blake's mom made a comment about settling down that Kelsey took as a dig. The wedding invitation was their Hail Mary. If I showed up and gave my blessing, it would prove their relationship wasn't built on something rotten. They want you there because seeing you happy for them would prove they made the right choice, Ryan told me. Your absence confirms they blew up something good for something that doesn't work. Then I found out Kelsey had been saying, if I don't show up, it proves I'm still hung up on her. That my absence is evidence I haven't moved on. Perfect manipulation. Show up and validate their choices, or don't show up, and she tells everyone I'm still in love with her. That's when I realized this was never about closure. This was about control. She wanted to control the narrative, needed my participation to make it stick. So I made a plan. My buddy Carter became a process server, delivers legal documents for a living. He owes me from when I helped him move last year. I called him. I need you to serve someone at their wedding. Carter laughed. You're messing with me. Dead serious. What's your rate? Man, that's cold. Who are we talking about? Remember Blake? Guy I told you about who slept with my ex while we were still together? The coworker. Yeah, you got him fired. He still owes me $2,300. Loan from almost 4 years back when his car died. Never paid me back after I found out. Ghosted me on every payment request. I've got documentation. Carter went quiet for a second. You want me to serve him at his wedding? To your ex. During the reception, after dinner, before the first dance. That's nuclear, dude. I'm in. What's the address? We worked out details. Blake still owed me $2,300. Loan from almost 4 years back when his car died. Never paid me back. I had the text messages. The Venmo request he ignored. Everything documented. I pulled up my text with Blake from June 2020. Found the conversation where he asked for the loan. Screenshots of my Venmo transfer. His promise to pay me back in 2 months. My follow-up messages 3 months later. 4 months later. 6 months later. All ignored after I caught him with Kelsey. He figured cutting contact meant the debt disappeared. Wrong. Small claims court filing was easy. $42 and some paperwork. Went to the courthouse during my lunch break. Filled out the forms. Listed the debt. Listed the attempts to collect. Listed the defendant's refusal to respond. Filed it with the clerk. Got my court date. March 15th, 2026. The process server would deliver it at the wedding. Court summons for the debt plus a demand letter. All legitimate. All legal. Maximum embarrassment. I attached a detailed timeline to the demand letter. Names, dates, locations of their affair. How the loan was given during our friendship. How Blake stopped responding after I found out. Documented as the reason all contact ceased and why repeated repayment requests were ignored. Everything tied together showing the debt became uncollectible due to defendant's actions. Nothing defamatory, just facts that would be read into court record if Blake didn't settle. Wedding was at Lakeside Gardens. Outdoor ceremony, indoor reception. I got the full timeline from Mike. He was invited and had no idea what I was planning. Carter would deliver during the reception. Right after dinner, before the first dance. Maximum guests. Maximum impact. Wednesday before the wedding, Kelsey's bridesmaid Hannah texted me. Wanted to know if I was okay. If there was anything that could help me attend. I wrote back something vague about still thinking it over. Then Hannah started yapping and told me everything. Kelsey is a mess. Really wants everything perfect. Keeps stressing about whether people will judge them. Perfect. I spent that week living normally. Work. Gym. Plans with friends. Made reservations for Saturday afternoon at a steakhouse across town. The kind with the $44 ribeyes. Invited Ryan and 2 other guys from my flag football league. Told them I wanted to celebrate getting my promotion paperwork finalized. They didn't question it. Just said yes. Morning of the wedding, I woke up at 8 a.m. Ceremony was at 3 p.m. I had time. At 11:32 a.m., I was on my back porch smoking a cigar. One of the pricey ones I brought back from a trip last year. Carter had his instructions, timing down to the minute. Blake and Kelsey were getting married across town. I was staying home, phone off, just me and the cigar waiting for the show to start. They'd sent me a wedding invitation, actually expected me to show up and celebrate them after Blake spent 5 months sleeping with my girlfriend behind my back. 17 years of friendship torched because he couldn't keep it in his pants. Then they ghost me for almost 4 years and suddenly want closure. Yeah, they'd get closure. Blake owed me $2,300 from almost 4 years ago. Never paid it back. Had it in writing. Text messages where he confirmed the amount and promised to pay me back in installments. Even sent me a payment of $50 a year. After the loan with first payment, more coming, in the memo. After I found out about the affair, he blocked my number and disappeared. Court system doesn't care about blocked numbers, though. Small claims court, legal process server, public humiliation at their reception, all completely legal. I leaned back, flicked ash, waited. At 6:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Carter. Approaching venue now. I smiled. 10 minutes later, walking in. 7:16 p.m. Papers delivered. Chaos initiated. Getting out now. I laughed. Actual laugh. Out loud. Alone on my porch. Carter called 5 minutes later. Man, that was something else. Tell me. He described it. How he walked in wearing his best suit. How everyone thought he was a late guest. How he went straight to the head table where Kelsey and Blake sat with their wedding party. How he said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, that he had important legal documents requiring immediate attention. Blake thought it was a prank. Tried to laugh it off. Carter handed him the envelope. You've been served. Have a nice evening. The room went silent. Everyone staring. Carter walked out while Blake opened the papers. Small claims court summons. Case number AW2025 SC004789. Court date, March 15th, 2026. Blake being sued by Alex for outstanding debt of $2,300 plus interest and court fees totaling $3,472. Attached, my demand letter, 5 pages. Documented timeline of our friendship, dates of the loan, copies of texts where Blake promised repayment. And in the final paragraph, just to really twist the knife, a detailed breakdown of when Blake started sleeping with Kelsey, how I found out, how Blake disappeared instead of facing me. At the bottom, payment due immediately or see you in court. Consider this my wedding gift. Enjoy your marriage built on lies. Carter said Kelsey grabbed the papers, started reading, went pale, then read, then started crying. Blake tried to shove them back in the envelope. Too late. Guests at nearby tables were already asking questions. Someone's aunt demanded to know what was happening. Blake's mom stood up. Kelsey's dad looked confused. The best man tried to calm everyone down. Didn't work. Kelsey was full-on sobbing. Not happy wedding tears. Panic tears. Humiliation tears. Blake started yelling. At Kelsey. At his groomsmen. At guests who asked questions. The band stopped playing. Waiters backed away from the head table. Carter said he watched from the parking lot for a minute before leaving. Saw Blake storm toward the exit. Saw Kelsey chase after him. Saw confused guests pulling out phones. Worth every penny, I told him. Pleasure doing business, Carter replied. I hung up. Finished my cigar. Went inside and made dinner. Around 8:30 p.m. I heard a car pull up outside. Loud. Aggressive parking job. Looked out my front window. Blake's BMW. Still had the just married sign taped to the back window and streamers attached to the bumper. Wedding decorations trailing as they both jumped out. I waited by my door. Security cameras recording. Screen door latched. They pounded. Hard enough to make the frame shake. I opened up 6 inches. Stood there behind the screen. Blake still wore his tux. Bow tie undone. Jacket unbuttoned. Face purple with rage. Kelsey's wedding dress had dirt on the hem. Mascara everywhere. Hair falling out of its fancy style. They looked ridiculous. What the heck was that? Blake shouted. I just smiled. Didn't say anything. You ruined everything, Kelsey screamed. Silence. Blake stepped closer. You're pathetic. Still hung up on this after almost 4 years. You drove across town on your wedding night to pound on my door, I said calmly. Who's pathetic? We invited you. We wanted to move forward. By not paying me back? By ignoring me for almost 4 years? That's moving forward? Kelsey pushed forward. Wedding dress dragging on my concrete. Alex, please, we can work this out. Just drop the case. We'll pay you back. Should have thought of that before ignoring me. Blake's hands clenched into fists. You're really going through with this? taking us to court over some money from almost 4 years ago, plus interest, plus court fees. It's in the paperwork. This is insane. What's insane is cheating with your friend's girlfriend for 5 months and then acting like you're the victim when there are consequences. Kelsey's face crumpled. I made a mistake. We both did. But this? Ruining our wedding? This is cruel. I laughed. Couldn't help it. You two spent 5 months sneaking around behind my back. You got engaged months after I found out. Sent me a wedding invitation like that would fix everything. And I'm cruel? My neighbor came out across the street. Phone up. Recording. My other neighbor stepped onto her porch. The couple from 2 doors down standing in their yard, watching. Blake noticed the audience. Started looking around. Reality hitting him that he was standing in my driveway in a tuxedo on his wedding night begging. You want the case dropped? I asked. Pay me. Right now. Full amount. Cash or certified check. Otherwise, see you March 15th. We don't have that kind of money right now, Kelsey cried. Then I guess you should have budgeted better. How much did that wedding cost? 50 grand? 60? But you can't pay back $3,472? Blake's jaw clenched. You're doing this to hurt us. I'm doing this because you owe me money. The hurt is just a bonus. Kelsey grabbed Blake's arm. Let's go. This isn't working. Blake wasn't done. Pointed at me through the screen. You know what? Take her back. You clearly still want her. This whole thing is because you can't move on. Kelsey's head whipped toward him. What did you just say? I'm done competing with a ghost. You want Alex? Go back to Alex. I'm sick of this. They started screaming at each other. Right there in my driveway. In wedding clothes. While my whole block recorded. You're the one who won't let go, Kelsey shouted. I let go. You're the one who spent our entire reception crying about him. Because you couldn't handle one legal paper. You fell apart. Because your ex sued me at my wedding. I just stood there, arms crossed, watching the show. My neighbor called out from across the street. You two need to leave. Now. Blake spun toward him. Stay out of this. It's my business when you're disturbing my street. Leave or I'm calling the police. That's when I pulled out my phone, held it up so they could see. Already calling them. Blake froze. You wouldn't. I pulled up the non-emergency line. Hit dial. Let them hear the automated menu. You've reached the non-emergency police line. Press 1 for... I pressed 1. Hi, yeah. I need officers for a trespassing situation. 2 people on my property. Been here about 25 minutes. Refusing to leave. No violence. Just won't go when asked. Blake's face went from angry to panicked. Started backing toward his car. We're leaving, Kelsey hissed. I kept talking. They're in my driveway right now. Male in a tuxedo. Female in a wedding dress. Making a scene. Whole neighborhood's watching. We're going, Blake shouted. The dispatcher sounded almost amused. Did you say wedding dress? Yeah, long story. But they need to leave and they won't. Officers will be there in about 10 minutes. Perfect. Thanks. I hung up. Looked at Blake and Kelsey, still standing there like idiots. You've got maybe 10 minutes. Your call. Kelsey grabbed Blake's arm harder. Let's go. Now. Blake pulled away from her. Stepped closer to my door. You're really doing this? Calling the cops on us? On our wedding night? You're really staying? Waiting to get arrested in wedding clothes? That'll look great in the photos. His face twisted. Couldn't decide between rage and fear. Kept looking at his car. At me. At the neighbors who were all recording. At Kelsey, who was literally tugging on his jacket trying to drag him away. Blake, we need to go. Her voice hitting that high-pitched panic tone. 8 minutes passed. Blake still hadn't moved. Stubborn. Stupid. Probably both. Then a patrol car rolled up. Blake's eyes went wide. This is insane. Had plenty of time to leave. 2 officers got out. Casual. Like they were just stopping by. Blake finally started moving. Grabbed Kelsey. Started rushing toward his BMW. One of the officers held up a hand. Hold on there. They froze. Blake and Kelsey halfway to their car. Still in full wedding gear. Streamers trailing on the bumper. Just married sign clearly visible in the streetlight. The first officer approached. Older guy. Probably seen everything. Evening, folks. We got a call about a disturbance? I stepped out onto my porch. Calm. Reasonable. That's me, officer. These 2 showed up uninvited about 30 minutes ago. Been yelling. Refusing to leave. I've asked multiple times. The officer looked at Blake. At the tux. At Kelsey. At the wedding dress covered in dirt and tears and mascara. At the car with the decorations. His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Sir, is this your property? He asked Blake. No, but... So you're on someone else's property? He sued me at my wedding. The second officer, younger guy, cleared his throat. Sounded like he was covering something. The first officer nodded slowly. Okay, and suing someone gives you the right to trespass on their property? You don't understand. I understand you're standing in this man's driveway in a tuxedo at 9 p.m. on what I'm guessing is your wedding night. Help me understand why that seemed like a good decision. Kelsey started crying again. Full waterworks. Please, officer. This is all a misunderstanding. We just wanted to talk to him for 30 minutes? The officer cut her off. After he asked you to leave? It's complicated. Blake jumped in. The second officer walked over to their BMW, looked at the decorations, looked back at them. Didn't say anything, but his body cam caught everything. The crooked sign, the muddy dress, the whole scene. The first officer pulled out his notebook. Here's how this works. This is his property. You're not welcome. You were asked to leave. You didn't leave. That's criminal trespassing. I can either take statements and write this up, or you can get in your car right now and disappear. We'll leave, Kelsey said quickly. Blake wasn't done being stupid. He's harassing us. He had us served at our wedding. The officer closed his notebook. Was the service legal? Well, yeah, but then that's a civil matter. Has nothing to do with you being on his property right now against his wishes. You want to file a harassment complaint? Go to the station tomorrow. Tonight, you need to leave. The second officer leaned against their car. You drove here in wedding clothes to argue with him? I shrugged. He cheated with my girlfriend. Owed me money. Ghosted me. I sued him. Process server delivered papers at his reception. Both cops stopped. The first officer's eyebrows went up slightly. The second officer's professional mask slipped for half a second. The first officer closed his notebook. All right, show's over. Get in your car. Leave. Don't come back. If you come back, you'll be arrested. Clear? Blake started to say something. The officer held up his hand. Let me be crystal clear. If I have to come back here tonight, you're both spending your wedding night in holding cells. In those outfits. With me processing the paperwork, which I will take my sweet time doing. Because this story is already going in my report, and I want all the details. That did it. Blake grabbed Kelsey, practically threw her into the passenger seat, got in, started the car. The streamers dragging on the ground made this pathetic rattling sound as he backed out. The just married sign, hanging crooked. Both officers watched them go. The second officer's body cam still recording the whole thing. The first officer turned to me. If they come back tonight, call again. Next time, it's an arrest. Understood. They left. My neighbor came over from across the street. Still recording. Please tell me you got all that. Every second. My other neighbor called from her porch. Alex, honey, that was better than cable TV. I went back inside. Made tea. Watched the videos my neighbor sent me. Blake and Kelsey fighting in my driveway. The cops dealing with them. The second officer taking photos of their car. Blake and Kelsey showed up to court on March 15th. Tried to claim the debt was forgiven. That it was a gift. That I was harassing them. Judge wasn't buying it. I had everything documented. Text messages where Blake explicitly called it a loan and promised repayment. Venmo transfer with the memo car loan. His $50 payment with first payment in the notes. Every ignored follow-up request. Judge ruled in my favor. Full amount plus interest. $3,472. Gave them 30 days to pay or face wage garnishment. They paid in 2 weeks. Kelsey's dad apparently wrote the check. Blake's pride couldn't handle having his wages garnished. Blake and Kelsey showed up to court on March 15th. Tried to claim the debt was forgiven. That it was a gift. That I was harassing them. Judge wasn't buying it. I had everything documented. Text messages where Blake explicitly called it a loan and promised repayment. Venmo transfer with the memo car loan. His $50 payment with first payment in the notes. Every ignored follow-up request. Judge ruled in my favor. Full amount plus interest. $3,472. Gave them 30 days to pay or face wage garnishment. They paid in 2 weeks. Kelsey's dad apparently wrote the check. Blake's pride couldn't handle having his wages garnished. 6 months went by after that. Complete radio silence. But the grapevine talks. Their marriage was a disaster from day one. Spent most of their honeymoon fighting about whose fault everything was. Meanwhile, I got promoted to director of regional operations, bought a bigger house in Cherry Creek, and started dating someone new. Megan, dental hygienist. Actually gets the difference between loyalty and convenience. Blake tried reaching out through Ryan 4 months after the wedding. Wanted to talk things out. I ignored it. Then he got laid off 3 weeks ago, and apparently Kelsey blamed their money problems on him. I was in the warehouse doing inventory when security called. Someone named Blake at the front desk. Refused to leave until I came out. I wanted to see this. Blake looked rough when I walked into the lobby. Thinner. Tired. That worn-down stress look that never stops. The receptionist watched from behind her desk. Security standing by the elevator. Blake saw me and his face crumpled. Alex, please, I just need 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. Then security removes you. I'm leaving her. Already moved my stuff out. His voice cracked. Everything's falling apart, but I'm here because I destroyed the best friendship I ever had, and I can't live with it anymore. That's your problem. I know it is. But I need you to understand how sorry I am. 17 years of friendship, and I threw it away for nothing. You were my brother, man. And I destroyed that. I glanced at my watch. 90 seconds left. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking you to know that I understand what I lost. The marriage was garbage from the start, but losing you? That's the thing I can't get past. Should have thought about that before you betrayed me. Blake wiped his face, started shaking. Is there any way we could ever... No. The word hit him like a punch. He stepped back. Please, I'll do anything. Just give me one chance. You had your chance. 17 years of chances. You threw them all away. I was stupid. I was selfish. But I'm telling you now, I would give anything to undo it. To choose you over everything else. But you didn't. When it counted, you picked yourself. Blake's hands were shaking. Please don't shut the door completely. You're the only real friend I ever had, and I destroyed it. And I can't accept that it's over forever. Accept it. You want to know what the worst part was? I kept my voice flat. It was that you made a choice. You looked at 17 years of brotherhood and decided it was worth less than sneaking around behind my back. That's who you are. Blake's face was wet. There's nothing I can do? No. He stood there, broken, begging with his eyes for something I wasn't going to give. I gave him nothing. Your 2 minutes are up. Get out. Please, Alex. Security. The guard stepped forward. Blake raised his hands. Okay, I'm going. He looked at me one more time. I'm sorry. For whatever it's worth nothing. Blake walked out, shoulders shaking. I watched him get in his car through the lobby windows. Felt nothing. Security came over. Everything okay, boss? Perfect. If he shows up again, call the cops. Trespassing. I went back to work. Had 3 shipments to coordinate. Blake wasn't important. Not anymore. That was 2 weeks ago. Yesterday, Kelsey texted from a new number. Long message about how Blake left her, how everything fell apart, how she realizes now what she lost. Wants another chance. I blocked the number. Deleted the text. They destroyed everything for each other. Turns out that's all they deserved. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.